Today on RB's Toy Box, we're going to take a look at some of the upgrades that you might consider for your retro gaming systems. Now, there's a lot that you can do, and we're going to kind of talk about a couple of those today in some of the more popular handheld gaming systems that are out there, and lightly discuss a little bit about some of the newer generation stuff that's also doing a repurpose as well. So you make sure you stay tuned, and hey, cue that new intro.
Step into the magic on my fun-filled stage. RB's Toy Box is great for kids of any age. From Star Trek to A-Team and retro toys too. Come join on my journey, making videos just for you.
Welcome back to RB's Toy Box. Today we're going to go into a little bit of the retro mod, if you will. So, if you look at the automotive industry, we call them a retro mod. So it's where you take something old and you bring it into some modern technology. So you get the best of both worlds. And you can do the same with several of your gaming consoles from, the 80s and 90s. And I've never really seen anyone done back all the way back in the 70s. I think we ought to leave those well enough alone, I'm just saying. But for these that are using the LED screens, there's upgrades that can be done for the LED screens. Now, there's some other YouTubers out there, and God love them, they're doing a great job. They got a great following. But they've really bashed on, having an upgrade. They want you to go back and just have it like it was the day that it came Christmas morning back in the late 80s and early 90s. Well, while I'm okay with that to a certain extent, at some particular point, they're not going to be serviceable anymore, right? I mean, a lot of these, especially these, have to be recapped at some particular point, and it takes someone with a certain skill set to be able to do that, not to mention to get a hold of the parts. And you want something to take you into the next generation, right, and have it available. And I want to show you, if you haven't seen a side-by-side difference, I'm going to show you with this one and then a couple of other units that I've got that I've done that with and purchased them in the upgraded format, and it's night and day in comparison. Now let's just start with, going back old school with the Sega Game Gear here. Now this is one of the original ones, and this is one of the ones that's been retroed. Now, if you look at them side by side, they're absolutely identical. The case, everything is absolutely the same. And that's what they do, basically. They crack them open and change everything inside and put everything else back together. Very, very little's been changed. You can do a upgrade to the shell. There are some out there that do upgrade to the shell, like my Game Boy is here, where that's kind of been an upgraded, painted version with the illuminated background and everything with that one. But for these, I just want to turn these on and give you a side. Hopefully it shows in the camera. I mean, it's really difficult to say otherwise, but let's just try it. I'm going to turn this one on and turn this one on. You tell me which one is the newer screen, right? I mean, it's just, I know it might not be perfect with the camera angle or whatever, but the one on the bottom obviously is the original screen, well preserved. This is a really, really good specimen of a preserved one. It's been recapped, but it does not have the upgraded LED versus the one at the top has the upgraded LED. It's a night and day experience between the two. You still get the same gameplay. It's still using the same cartridges, obviously. So it's literally getting what you wanted back in the day. Even though when these Game Gears came out, man, they were next level. I mean, let's face it. When you went from, like Game Boy Color, and you thought you were something special when you had this, or Game Boy Advanced, and you thought you were special when you had your Game Boy Advance, and then all of a sudden the kid shows up at school and he's got one of these. You were like, Mom, I want one of these, right? And these came out about the time, well, a little bit later than that, but we did a lot of traveling when my children were younger. And these were really affordable back in the late 90s. Matter of fact, they've kind of gotten to the point where not a lot of people were using them, and you could buy them dirt cheap. And so we did. We had the kit. We had like 30, 40, 50 games with them. We had all the accessories with the magnifying glass and the extra lighting and everything that possibly you could get with it. And with our distribution company, our kids went with us and they did their homeschooling online with computers and all that kind of stuff. But these helped to really keep them entertained. And I tell you, I have actually, this is one of the ones that my kids had when they were younger, and this one is one of the ones that we had. All the way, this is original. This is one that we actually had when my kids were younger. This one I got from a guy in Winter Haven. Actually, both of these are from Winter Haven, Florida. Both of them came from a video game store where he had sent one of these off and had it done, several of them actually. And then I told him, I'm like, man, when you get these in, I want one. And then I had also picked one up in the interim of this one over here because I wanted to have an original one and I wanted to have an upgraded one. I also bought this one from him, and I have a great specimen of an original as well. Kind of a side-by-side comparison of going old school on these, and you can see right off the bat with the upgraded screen between the two of them with the monochrome and then the upgraded LED. Not sure, let's see, do I have batteries in these? No, but I could put batteries in them. I don't keep batteries in my stuff very much unless I'm going to show them for display. I'm kind of making this video, on the fly. This was another one that you can get that have the upgrades. These, they actually sell cases online that you can basically rewrap yours and change the color to whatever you want. You can upgrade the back pieces and everything. Just about everything that you want you can redo with this. They also have an upgraded screen. Now, I've seen the screen side by side. I didn't see that much of an increase like you do back here where you're literally jumping 20 years worth of technology. This one, because they're only 10 or 12 years old, you're not really going to see that big of a change. But on some of the higher end games, you definitely can see a crisp increase. But some of the little goofier ones that I like to play, you can't really tell because they're kind of an older school game that I'm going to be playing. It's kind of like watching a VHS tape on a Blu-ray kind of player or a brand new TV, to where, yeah, it's a little crisper, but not that much crisper, right? I mean, when you're comparing it with my CRT TV to, the flat screen, honestly, the CRT, depending on what you're looking at, looks better. And that's the way it is on these as well, between the upgraded screens. Now, they also have, for the Game Boy Color, an upgraded screen that you can get as well, because if you remember, some of the advanced ones didn't have a backlit screen. So you were kind of stuck looking at that where, you couldn't really see what was going on. So they have a different one that you can get that have the upgraded screen. Now, the other advanced ones that are more of the wide ones, those actually had the backlit screens right off the bat. So when you take that and then, you got these right here. I keep them just for giggles, right? These are just the Chinese knockoff. Don't yell and scream at me on the monitor here. But, this has like 800 retro games in it. So if I get totally bored, I might grab this if I'm going to go on a road trip or something and just, have it to goof around with some retro games. I also have these, right? Now, these DS's, the things that I really like about these is the games are still modern and relevant, and they're readily available. So you can pick one of these up for about $125, and then, in really good shape. They sell kits to complete. This is one of those that I've done a kit on. I've completely rehoused the entire unit, and it looks absolutely brand new when you do that. And then, of course, all the guts and everything are fine. You can get the touchscreen with it. You can get the older versions with this. Some collectors have several different versions of this one. My daughter actually has multiple versions of this one. My oldest daughter, she's really big into these because these came out when she was growing up. So these were important to her. And I actually got this as a hand-me-down. Believe it or not, normally it's the other way. This is a hand-me-down from my kids. Is that not weird? So I got that one right there. And I tell you, some of the other stuff that I just love to collect. Some of you may have seen my watch that I got a second one just because I love them so much. Isn't that thing so cute? My wife got that for me for Christmas at Marshall's one time. All right, so back to, some of the handheld type stuff. There's just a lot of units that are out there that you can do an upgrade with and still keep your gameplay going. Now let's look at two more things here with RB's Toy Box, and this is one that everybody out there knows about, and that's a Switch. Don't yell at me. This one, I got the Switch. This is actually my second one because the first one I got, and I was just like, I'm never playing. I'm always playing my retro one. But I got another one because I realized that some of the gameplay in the retro, because you can pay I think it's $10 a year, maybe $8 a year or something, and get access to a lot of the retro games that you would find on Sega and Nintendo. And sometimes that gameplay is not as fluid on the retro units as they are on here. And of course this you can hook up to the big screen and sit there and play some of your retro games. That's why I went ahead and got another one. With that, you have some advantages there of having it in the cloud versus having it here, that you can just grab this and take it on a road trip with you and have access to a lot of the fun games that you like to play without it necessarily having to carry 5 or 6 different old retro units with you, for some of the things that you want to play. Now, that's not good English, is it? So these is something, I said it again. This is something that I run across here not too long ago. I actually saw another YouTuber a wonderful channel that was talking about these, and I didn't even know these babies existed in this format. Now, I had Game & Watch when I was a kid. Matter of fact, I know for a fact somewhere in my garage I have 2 or 3 of the vintage, old Digipixel type units on it. But this one has a full screen LED, full gameplay in this little critter right here. And it's such a brilliant screen. I mean, it's nice and bright. And if you're just bored and laying in bed, you can just slop this baby right there in your pocket, take it with you. It's just a great way to have a retro experience without carrying around a retro console with you and, have it in this little pocket scenario. So, I don't want to say that I endorse this or anything, but you got to be careful on how you buy these. Now, they have these on Amazon, $45 and $50. Local stores, you can pick them up for $25 or $30, and a lot of these, we're going to call them vintage gaming places that I buy a lot of my equipment from. Also carry newer stuff like this that they sell and keep on the shelf because that's what you do. And they sell them cheaper than you can get them on, even eBay and from Amazon because they bought them in bulk or whatever. But I got this from the same vendor I got a lot of my other equipment from. Great local companies that you can run across when you're out there doing some hunting like RB's Toy Box did when he wanted to start hunting down some of the cool things that he both had when I was a kid and did not have when I was a kid. A lot of these retro things that I couldn't, my parents couldn't afford. I did have an Atari, and we played the snot out of that thing. I would love to get a Coleco Atom. I had one of those when I was a teenager, and it was such a wonderful unit. But I mean, they're so expensive now that I'm just going to admire other people's collection unless I just happen to trip across one, because I went through high school with that thing and I was able to print out my papers and everything else with it. I looked like I was something special because I had a home computer like that. But, again, it comes down to what are you collecting for, right? What's a passion for you? Is it to revive a memory that you had from the past? Is it to get a hold of just retro technology? Or are you just a collector and want to have it? Or is it, you know what, I had one of those when I was a kid, or I wanted one of those when I was a kid? And I've got a lot of those things here in RB's Toy Box, both things that I had when I was a kid and things that I really, really wanted when I was a kid. Even if you look at these guys right over here, let me see here. So I can't think. All right, so Viewmasters over here. There's several of these talking Viewmasters. Man, when these first came out, they were totally out of anything that RB's Toy Box's parents could afford. It's just, you know, it's like, well, I'll get you one of these other ones here, which is what they did. You know, they got me one of these instead of one of these type things. And, you know, my friends in school had the talking ones, and I thought they were so cool, but, you know, just didn't happen. And I actually have a video on these that you probably want to check out. I'll probably remake it with some of the upgrades and stuff that's been done on these. I've repaired quite a few of these. The technology inside of here will blow your mind. It's just, it's not a real speaker. It's a diaphragm. It's so cool. Anyway, so I had those because I wanted them as a kid, and then I found them really inexpensive. They were all broken. Took them all apart and fixed them, and now I have them as part of RB Toy Box's collection. But I have all kinds of stuff like that. It's like when I was doing, you know, collecting in this arena, I've come across these True Views, which is kind of like a predecessor that used roll film, 35 millimeter roll film, and it pushes through here, and you just keep sliding that across and sliding that across. All kinds of stuff. They didn't really do a lot of movie-related things, but they did like, you know, pictures of the forest and the trees in Arizona and all that kind of stuff. So I've got those as well. But again, what are you into collecting? Collecting, right? Make it something that's passionate for you. Make it something that means something to you. I'm not against folks that collect to sell and collect to sell and turn it into a profit. I'm not against that. But that's not what RB's Toy Box right now is all about. RB's Toy Box is about memories and making memories and reliving memories and getting cool things that help remind you of those cooler times when we were kids back in the 70s and 80s. I hope you're liking the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. I've got a lot of cool stuff still coming out that I'm just kind of looking at different things. I'm moving stuff around here at RB's Toy Box. So I hope that you enjoy these videos. Make sure you're liking and subscribe. Say something kind of nice down below. Let me know that you're enjoying these videos. Make sure that you're telling other friends about it. There's other collectors out like me right now. This is kind of big business where, you know, a lot of these people that are out here, they're starting to realize that people our age are the ones that like to buy this kind of stuff. When you look at Play School, Playmobil, and all of these different companies that are coming out with stuff that's specifically geared toward the 70s and 80s generation, that's where, I don't want to call it buying power, but you know what, people are starting to realize that we want to relive our memories, and they're coming out with products for us to be able to do that, hence this kind of stuff, right? Stay tuned to RB's Toy Box, and hey, we'll see you soon.
Step into the magic on my fun-filled stage. RB's Toy Box is great for kids of any age. From Star Trek to A-Team and retro toys too. Come join on my journey, making videos just for you.